So, hello, this was a busy news week today. I mean, personally, from my end, I mean,
I saw you following the EC around. I was like,
oh
wow,
God,
the level of mistrust in this country is just
God.
heightened.
You know,
like, they actually want to see that the printing presses are under lock and key when they are not working.
My point is, how did we get to this point, right? And it wasn't too surprising with the EC, because I took some pictures of the tour, posted it on my social media, on Twitter, my handle at Mensa Duncan, and it was interesting, the comments people were making, and it goes to buttress what we've seen earlier in the news this week as well with regards to the Afrobarometer report, where only 28% of respondents say they trust the EC as an institution. You know what's even shocking? 45% of respondents also perceive the EC to be corrupt. So, like, you're wondering, right? How did we get this low? But the good news is that we went on a tour, and for me, I was encouraged, right, by the level of preparation and the attention to details and the push for fairness and transparency by the EC. So, you know, there's this place where they keep all the materials they've stored after printing.
Right.
They call it a vault room. And the padlocks to these keys are kept by the party agents present. So if you're an NPP agent, you need the CPP, the NDC, the New Force to all come and open it before you can have access to it, right? And there's, you know, people say, well, it's a padlock and
one key can open all of them.
We don't know that, and it's not even the case, right? And I was also making the point that it's a heavily secured place.
Yeah,
so I saw a lot of police, armed police there. I saw armed military there. In some of the places we went to, I saw people wearing tag with national security on it and all of that. So I think the EC have done a yeoman's job. I want to wish them well, wish them the very best, and hope that they are able to just continue and act fairly regardless of the, you know, all the talk and noise, really. Because at the end of the day, it's for the betterment of our democracy.
I think that was the last part of your week. So my week, I have been debunking claims that cholera has claimed 4 extra lives.
I know, I was watching, I was following you in the newsroom.
I was like, my word. So I had to quickly call up the GHS that this is what I've heard, but I want confirmation before I go with it. They're like, there's no such thing. And if there was such a thing, obviously the public head health would know, and he doesn't know that there's 4.
But there were 2 confirmed.
There were 2 confirmed deaths
at
Ada East, what we discussed last week, and that is still the case now.
So,
2 confirmed
you know, it's been an incredibly...
There's no extra deaths. They're working on the ground, ensuring that it doesn't spread beyond the Ada enclave. And even with that, they said that the numbers have reduced. So they're doing their work.
We need to pray for more grace to be able, because cholera by this time, there's some way. You know, of all the problems in the country right now, we can't afford to add cholera. That would be too much to bear. You know, so from 5G, cholera, EC, Ekriadonko passing away, Supreme Court, which was like big as well, due to the case involving Apenyo Markin and the Speaker of Parliament. You know, so it's been a busy week. And I think it's probably going to get worse in the coming days.
Because we're now entering, you know, the
you know, for the first time, I felt like it's election proper. You know, Mama is on the campaign using economic jargons, asking 5 questions. Then I'll count 50 questions. Oh, God. Wow.
Let's get into the papers and what they're saying. So I have The Spectator. Stop using breast-enhancing creams. They expose females to breast cancer. Founder, leader of GFP, Ekriadonko, passes on. Ayoko Boche's rise to top of Commonwealth, a major feat for Ghanaian diplomacy. And on the back page, Kotoko to host Heart of Lions. Ghana, 11 others for 2024 Rugby Africa Women's 7th tournament in November.
Wow, on the front page of the Daily Graphic Weekend Special, they call it, Ghana deploys 5G technology, comes along with a photograph of the Minister for Communications and Digitalization, Ursula Owusu Ekufo, and also the President in the shot. of this particular story. Big page story, Speaker summons Parliament on November 7. So that's the recall story on page 13 of the Daily Graphic Weekend Special. Also here, towards transparent elections, EC opens up ballot paper printing to media with store. And this is a story I was talking about earlier. Back page, new era for black satellites. That's the National Under-20 football team. Let's encourage coach of fair. And that's the editorial really from the Daily Graphic. And any other stories online?
Yes, let's do ChannelOneNewsroom.com. Election 2024. Votes for leaders who fulfill promises. Bichim Queen Mother endorses Bawumia. ADB closes Boko branch amid rising tensions. Use 5G technology responsibly, Akufo-Addo says. East Legon accident, Salifo Mwaku's son remanded. Amenfi Central NDC seeks to quash court injunction with fresh suits. Do you have any more?
Yes, let me take you to the citynewsroom.com, where over here we have reopened courts. Bolga Traditional Council appeals to Chief Justice. Ghana Water Company launches debt recovery as Northern Savannah region owe 45 million Ghana cedis. Probe Elembele DCE, District Finance Officer, over financial abuses, and that's coming in from assembly members. Bawumia will take Ghana to the next level. The Bichim Queen Mother assets, defend democracy, avoid electoral manipulation. House of Chiefs to Ghanaians. House of Chiefs to Ghanaians. The Akufo-Addo's administration has been a horror movie. And guess who's saying this? Former President John Dramani Mahama. He said the last 8 years has been a horror movie. Interesting. High Court reverses BOG's revocation of CDH savings and loans licenses. Salifo Mwaku's son remanded over fatal East Legon accident. And these are some of the big front page stories. And also, you mentioned the Ekadonko, right? The GFPC, they've settled on Ekadonko's replacement. And these are some of the big stories on the citynewsroom.com. Any more for us?
Yeah, I have graphic. Most of the stories we've mentioned, but one that we haven't touched on is the staff of Tetakwashi Memorial Hospital demanding speed ramps after fatal accidents, because it seems that it's rampant on that road, that staff of the hospital are hit by car when they are doing their duties.
Let's take our viewers to some international headline stories. The CNN is reporting that Harris says Trump's violent rhetoric must be disqualifying. Also here, there's a satellite imagery showing mystery ship built in China amid breakneck naval expansion. Israel plans to use lasers to shoot down incoming missiles. And also here from Spain, how Valencia's residents are trapped with no warning in Spain's deadly floods. And some more U.S. election story. Trump undermines public trust in the election. That's an analysis from the CNN. The fights to finish and what lies ahead beyond campaign 2024. 41 million digits later, inside a question cover record-breaking Prime Minister. So that's another feature on the CNN online portal. It's heavy on the U.S. elections, which is happening
on Tuesday.
Yeah, Charlie, all the action, giddy. Right now Trump is wearing garbage collector clothes, the reflector. Because, his supporters, according to his camp, say they were, addressed by the President Biden as garbage, even though the president's team came out to debunk those claims. And he's just jumped on that bandwagon, like he's trying to milk as much political capital from it as he can. It's amazing. It's interesting.
Another thing I saw this morning when I went on CNN was that I think a voter, they do early voting. So he had gone in wearing his
MAGA hat,
and then they asked him to take it off. And he said no, and it turned into a whole, so he's suing the poll officers and the place where he went to. I don't know how that's going to turn out.
In Ghana, we have like the CI that governs how elections are run, right? Yes. And I'm sure it'll be same for the US.
Yes, so
even in Ghana,
some states, you're not allowed to wear party paraphernalia to go and vote.
Yeah.
And that was one of those states. So they just told him to go outside, take off your hat, and come back and vote. Simple. He said no.
There's a book I have on my shelf at home on Trumpism.
That's the title.
And it's interesting. If you read a book and you relate it to like what's happening in the general election cycle, following his win post Obama, his loss to Biden, and his comeback. It's quite interesting.
All right. I'm starting with a Spectator, a couple of stories. Preventing skin cancer with our diets. We've been hearing a lot about cancer lately. They're telling us to take shrimps or eat shrimps and salmon, and it can prevent skin cancer. I mean, I love salmon, so then I'm good. I love salmon, so then I'm good.
It's not what you love.
It's not what I love.
It's what you have to eat in moderation.
Yeah, so, but the story that I want us to focus on, since, October was Breast Cancer Awareness Month, stop using breast-enhancing creams. They expose females to breast cancer. Women have been cautioned to stop using breast-enhancing creams, which is said to contain estrogen, predisposing them to the breast cancer disease. Using such creams over time increases estrogen levels in patrons of such products, thereby exposing them to the disease. Estrogen is a type of sex hormone responsible for development and regulation of female reproductive system and secondary sex chart. Miss Enyanam Abiti, she's a medical officer at Medina Pentecost Hospital. She said this at a day's seminar and Breast Cancer Awareness Creation Day at Sunyai in the Bono region. And these things, like sometimes you're scrolling through social media and then something will just pop up. Hip enlargement cream, breast enlargement cream. And I'm wondering, is the FDA seeing all these ads, or have they even approved these drugs? Because believe you me, someone like you or I will fall prey to it because they want the Coca-Cola body and comment.
Me, mom, don't fall prey to it, but
no, but there are people who are that gullible.
Yeah, people are that gullible. Yeah. Like, your point is absolutely spot on.
People are that gullible.
For me, it goes down to the point of education, really. If you have a populace that's educated, right, against or well informed on the dangers, right, on the use of some of these things, you are able to, your job is halfway done. And, I like the NMC's approach recently, because a lot of these people use the media to sell these products, right? A week ago, we learned that the NMC, that's the National Media Commission, have sanctioned some 44 stations, right? They've called them to come and answer about the promotion of some of these things that have not been licensed or approved by regulatory authorities. So for me, I think it's a step in the right direction. If we need, we need strong regulatory authorities, and we need a strong media and responsible medias, right? And when all of these things are done, that is how we are able to curb the rise of some of these things. Because at the end of the day, it is the public that suffers. It's the public purse that suffers. When somebody uses this cream and they end up in the hospital, it is our taxes that is still going to be used to take care of the person. So
something funny. Yesterday in the newsroom, we're like, okay, let's just go scroll through the stations. Believe you me, you know, Messiah Mia. Oh my word! There are so many stations, and you don't know what they are promoting, and there's some random person standing there telling you to come and buy some random thing that can cure 400 diseases at once. How? How?
It's also irresponsible, right, for media owners to go on and do that. So we want to just, like I said, what we need is to enforce the regulations we have. So strong regulatory authorities, they should just do their work, and we'll be able to sanitize the system. GPRT, they allow all manner of people into buses to come and sell. You are not helping. So
that's how the Kaswa children fell prey to some random
they're watching TV actually. A corn artist on TV
to bring blood for money.
It's just
What
sad
do you
and
have?
very
Let's
responsible.
move on.
You know, the big good, the one of the good news this week, right, after a very busy news week, was that 5G is in Ghana.
Have you checked from your phone?
Some of us, the phone we use.
Do you use an iPhone? All those in the newsroom yesterday, we realized that the 5G is on our phone.
But you see, after using an iPhone, you let me make my point. You should ask me what network I also use. My network too is bad, but no problem.
I thought you used...
No,
okay,
don't
not mention any.
You know, so you know, Charlie, yeah, I have so many things to say about my network, but I'll just let it slide. You know, it's on my heart.
People need to sit up. Oh. Data is expensive.
It's on my heart.
And me now, I have bought my data. No, you're not letting me use my data. Did I pay the data with your money or with my money? Yeah, let me say it for you. In fact, I will even leave any network. You know, all of them need to be sanctioned for the kind of
sometimes I ask
data
myself
services that they give us.
I ask myself, like, who even sent me? You know, like, why in the mom? You know, I've been using this number since 2008.
Okay. Oh, you're loyal.
Yeah. So, you know, I feel like, yeah, longevity, you know. But sometimes I'm like, no. Anyway, so Ghana deploys 5G technology. The country's digital transformation agenda took a significant leap when President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo launched the 5th generation mobile network service in Accra with the launch of 5G next-gen Infraco, a new shared infrastructure company co-promoted by government and 7 other firms, has been granted a 10-year exclusive license to invest in and roll out the 5G services together with its partners such as Ascent Digital, KNet, Redis, Nokia Tech, Mahindra, AT Ghana, and Telecel Ghana. NGCI will leverage on an open access network where each operator does not need to invest in the same infrastructure that provides the services, but can access it from the neutral wholesale provider, NGIC. NGIC would also empower the telecommunications service providers with network capabilities needed to deliver the rollout of high-speed and reliable 5G services across the country, starting from Accra, Kumasi, and Takoradi, followed by deployments to additional urban centers and eventually the entire country in the next 2 years. Currently, AT has signed on to the platform to enable it to provide the 5G services to its subscribers, while Telecel is finalizing agreements to roll out the service. Other mobile network operators and small firms providing bespoke internet solutions are also expected to follow suit. The launch in Accra yesterday of the 5G, which is said to be 10 times faster than the 4th generation plus mobile network 4G, was on the theme 5G accelerating Ghana's digital transformation. Right, so on responsible youth, President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo called for a responsible approach to the new technology, stating, "With this power comes responsibility to use it wisely. We must address concerns around data privacy, cybersecurity, and responsible use to ensure that it fosters progress, not division." So that's the big news story. You know, technology is a double-edged sword, right? So on one breath, it can help you propel, or it can help with progress, right?
Yeah.
You know, if you are a lover of technology, people use it for all sorts of things, right? There are the good sides to it, and there's the dark side, right? So it's important that in celebrating the arrival of 5G, we are also firm on the core, on the push, to ensure that it's used responsibly, right? So, you know, if you have access to the internet and all you use it for is to talk to some client outside and get him to load some things on your card, no, Charlie, you know, it's not proper.
I have a story on that. I'll share it
It's not proper.
day.
It's not proper. So, you know, don't use it to propel fraud and other acts of irresponsibility, right? And that's the message the president is saying, that it's important to use it responsibly. We should use it for groundbreaking innovation, opening apps, you know, running proper internet services, something that will help, you know, the growth that transformation we want in this country.
Aside that, they should just make sure that it runs fast for us.
Oh,
hey, is that too much to ask?
No, they say it is 10 times faster than 4G. So that in itself...
Not 5G.
You know, the point is that even with the 4G, the rollout of 4G, right, there were so many other structural problems, right? Yeah. So the compatibility of devices was even an issue. A lot of people, was there access to high-end mobile phones in the country? Or by high-end mobile phones, I'm referring to mobile phones that have internet access. It's still low. The internet use rate in the country is growing, but it's still not there yet, right? So 5G is great, but there are so many other issues. There's an infrastructure problem.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Right now, not all of the telecom companies have signed onto it, right? So there's also some other issues people have to sort out. We know Tigo have signed onto it. Telesat have also signed onto it, but they are still mobilizing the initial stage of their operations. We've not really heard from MTN on this. So there are so many other issues. And like I said, there's also the compatibility of devices, right? How many Ghanaians are able to afford smartphones that can have access to 5G? So these are the hard issues that we should be also paying attention to in our attempts to maximize this whole package fully.
Let me bring you another story that I'm sure everybody will be interested in. Prioritize mental health issues at the workplace. Let me pause. It deserves a standing ovation.
Go ahead. I'm listening to you. It's important, though. Very important.
A bit of the story reads: discrimination, inequality, excessive workloads, low job control, and job insecurity exposes workers to some risks of developing mental health problems, a consultant psychiatrist, Professor Sami Ohene, has stated. According to him, mental health issues among workers could also lead to absenteeism and presenteeism, which affects both the individual and the organization. He defined presenteeism as being present but not fully productive, while absenteeism was when one is missing at work. He said this at a program organized by Department of Psychiatry of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital on the theme, "It's time to prioritize mental health at the workplace." According to the consultant, psychiatrists' high workloads, tight deadlines, and long hours can lead to chronic stress and burnout, causing fatigue, irritability, and decreased productivity, adding that work-related pressures such as job insecurity, lack of control, and workplace conflicts could trigger or exacerbate anxiety and depression. And depression is something that most people don't even know they have depression. So you're feeling low, you're feeling some type of way, you can't really pinpoint exactly what's happening to you. It might be depression, or your heartbeat is just, you know, going at an insanely fast rate. You don't know what's happening to you. It could be anxiety. You don't know where it's stemming from, and then you're taking it out on me or on Jude or on any of your work colleagues. And it's not our fault that you're feeling the way you're feeling. You're just burnt out. Probably need a mental health day. My cousin in the UK, she called me some last night. "You're not at work?" "No, I'm taking a mental health day." I'm like, hey.
It's about time we all start embracing and paying attention to. You know, we've overlooked it for a very long time in this part of the world, and you know, sometimes people. It's also because we don't know, right? We don't know that. You don't know how to go about it when we suffer the ordeal. So I think it's about time we keep pushing the message, both employees and employers, you know, pay attention to it. Like I say, you know, people have their problems from home and they bring it to the office, which shouldn't be the case, right? So yeah, it's about time we call on employees to invest in, you know, proper mental health care for their employers, right? And this is true for the public sector as it is for the private sector. You know, in some companies, Charlie, the HR is everything. She's the preacher, worship leader, HR counselor, you know, psychiatrist, Charlie, everything. But she herself may need help. And where is she getting that help from? So it's the message should be that we should send the message out loud and clear on the need to have capable people or qualified people do the job of counseling, of helping people through difficult moments. And, you know, once in a while, we all go through stuff that, you know, sends the morale down. It's normal. It's part of living.
Actually, it's not really talked about a lot.
But it's not the end of the road. It doesn't mean that you are less of a human or anything.
All.
So
not at all. Everybody, both including
you. Sometimes you just need a hug. Like you just need someone to listen to you. You know, hear you out. It shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be that deep.
It shouldn't be that deep. But the services are expensive. I won't even lie.
Yeah, but you know, but if the company is investing in it, it's to the ultimate good of the company and even society as a whole. So, you know, we need to send that message out loud and clearly to our employees, and especially government workers.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, so, yeah, these are the big... Let me just bring the Ballot touring story on page 17 of the Daily Graphic Weekend Special. That was also big from the EC this weekend. In a major step towards promoting transparency in the electoral process, the Electoral Commission opened up the process of printing ballot papers for the December 7 polls to the media. Ghanaians will go to the polls on December 7 this year to elect a president and 276 members of parliament. And in preparation for that, a team of officials from the EC yesterday led journalists, including myself, Judy Duncan, to some of the printing companies where they were given access to the production rooms to observe the printing process, an exercise the EC said was the first time. Although it's been printed by 6 companies, the EC's team, led by the Deputy Commissioner in charge of Corporate Services, Dr. Eric Bosman Asari, took the media to 3 of them: Back Press, InnoLink, and Acts Commercial. At each of these locations, agents of the political parties, representatives of independent candidates, and the police and national security operatives were there to observe the process. It goes on to talk about transparency, the observations, which I mentioned earlier on in the show, and the satisfaction of the EC. So according to the EC, this is to boost public trust and transparency, right? And like I said, if you follow the Afrobarometer report, 28% of Ghanaians think that the EC, some kululu day inside, you know, and they make those assumptions even when there's no hard evidence or facts to back those claims and assertions, right? And we've said that for our democracy to grow, we need strong institutions, not strong men, right? Obama was in Ghana in our parliament. He made a profound statement. The EC is one of such institutions where we need it to run independently, fair, transparent, and remain strong as an institution. And one way to remain strong as an institution is to ensure that there's transparency in the work you do and you have that public trust. Right? I know when only 28% of Ghanaians trust you, it doesn't tell a very good story.
At all. And
even worse, when 45% think that the institution is corrupt, it doesn't really send a good signal. So for me, I like that the EC, in understanding the challenges of the time, have allowed for some of these initiatives. I think it will go a long way to build public trust, which has gone quite down in my opinion, and also build general trust ahead of the election period. I think we've gotten here partly because of this whole back and forth legal battles with the NDC, you know, bring the voters register, I'll bring it, forensic audit, I'll do. You know, the more the NDC talks about it, the more it forms in the minds of their followers that there's something fishy going on. And now there's also a Memphis Central, John Akujo, EC. Charlie, it's on way, you know. So plenty. I just hope that we allow common sense to prevail so that the trust would
gradually build up.
Exactly.
Gradually. I have a sports story here. Ghana 11 others for 2024 Rugby Africa Women's Sevens Tournament in November.
You like rugby? You watch rugby?
I've watched it. I mean, one of my cousins plays rugby. I don't understand the game.
Back in the day, you put on a team every day, Springboks, Charlie, so way.
I know the rules are slightly different in American football, but I honestly don't know what the points are. I haven't read about it. Maybe I should.
I'll teach you. Don't worry.
You understand the rules of the game?
I think fairly.
Fairly.
Yeah.
I just see them running with a ball, then touchdown, or they kick it I don't know. Anyway, so Ghana will be the first West African country to host a Rugby Africa Women's Sevens competition, which will take place at the University of Ghana's Rugby Stadium on November 9 to 10. 12 countries, including Ghana, are expected to feature in the historic event. The other countries include defending champion South Africa, Zimbabwe, Uganda, Tunisia, Kenya, Madagascar, Senegal, Zambia, Mauritius, Burkina Faso, and Cote d'Ivoire. Rugby Africa, the continent's rugby governing body, is organizing the competition, which will act as a qualifier for the 2025 Challenger Series. Interesting.
Very interesting.
Women playing rugby. I didn't even know there was a women's rugby team here in Ghana. I know SA has it because they, I think that's their major, rugby.
One of their major sports.
One of their major sports is rugby, Springboks.
So, yeah, with that ends our news review segment. It's been a busy news weekend, reflected in the news review segments because you had to, we didn't even talk about Ekradonko.
Or the boy who's been remanded, or the Supreme Court tomorrow.
So, I mean, we mentioned the headlines. So, Salif Amako's son has been remanded in a juvenile correction center following his killing of 2 people, and he's been charged with manslaughter. That was quite surprising and big for people, and misdemeanor. Ekradonko, Ghana Freedom Party, we know that she's passed away. May her soul rest in perfect peace. And with her passing means that it would have implications for the general elections with regards to balloting and because already some centers have already printed ballot
so they had
papers.
To put a hold on it.
So they have to put a hold on it, even though parliamentary is ongoing. Now the legal gymnastics is ongoing. Do we do a reballoting, or somebody else continues in her stead? Of course, Shelley Ayoko-Boche, we've talked about her a lot. Supreme Court also ongoing there. So, I mean, in the course of the show, if any other big news happens, we'll be sure to mention.
Definitely. But so that's our news review segment for you. We'll be right back with our favorite segment, What's Happening?
Yeah.